And you'll not find anyone with the parapsychological, the extra-dimensional, the paranormal, the ESP, whatever you wish to call it, the precognitive, extraterrestrial, or paranormal. It makes no difference what you name it. Parapsychological, as I said, are the gifts of the Spirit. You'll find no one that has them developed on this continent to this intensity. And you've got a lot of things about knowledge that you've heard metaphysically about karma and reincarnation and so forth and so on. But how do you know it's true? You don't know a thing it's true, only what you've been told. Until something's proven empirically, epistemological concepts, whatever your conceptual ideas, they have to make a juxtaposition with reality someplace so that you know by empirical evidence that what you have said was reality is tested to be reality and proven to be reality. Now, if that was above some of your heads, I was throwing that out for a few out here that think that they are too intellectual for us. There are always a few that come in that think that they have a great deal of wisdom that they can somehow give we poor, struggling people here, polarized as we are in the lower end of the socioeconomic income picture. And they think that they can reach down to our drab existence and lift us up. Maybe we could take you out of your drab existence and free you. Something to consider. Yes, sir. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a very honest opinion. How can you know what's truth in the Bible? It's not that simple unless your judgment is based upon a very high evolutionary understanding. If you have a deep refinement in your superego, then you could trust your judgment of the Bible. First, it would have to be, this would be required. You would have to be socialistic to be able to trust the Bible. Well, I'll explain that. The only ethic by which we can lift mankind today is some form of socialism. There is a smattering of it in the New Testament. It's very evidently clear on the day of Pentecost that they that believed were together and had all things common. They brought their possessions to the apostles' feet, and the apostles departed to every man as he had need, from each according to his ability to each according to his need. Now, we've been told that this was a Marxist concoction, but it isn't. It's older than the Bible by far. It's a couple of thousand years, and then even more than that in its age. You can trust no judgment that is not based upon the highest ethic of socialism. Now, why I say the highest ethic? The dialectic of history proves, I think, unquestionably, that man is capable of perfection, that he does evolve and grow to a better and a more mature understanding. With 2 out of 3 babies going to bed hungry, with wars caused by the appearances of nations and colors and churches, we're fighting over flags, really not fighting over flags, we're really fighting to suit the whim and circumstance of the cartelists, the international bankers, and the great money mongrels. They make the wars, they decide what area of the world they want. So that's what General David Shoup said to the commander of the Marine Corps. He said that, and he put it in the congressional record by Senator Harkey. That's all right, keep standing if you wish. He said that the commander of the United States Marine Corps said that all of our effort in Vietnam had been for tungsten, tin, rubber, and oil. Right now, 60 oil companies are fighting over areas there, and that's the problem. America, 3% of the Americans own 60% of the world. I don't know whether you're familiar with that or not. Something like 200 families own 90% of the United States. And those same 200 families influence and dominate 67% of the world. They own, literally, 67% of the world. General Shoup, not Jim Jones, because I'm just a little old preacher, prophet, and what does a metaphysician have to do with such geopolitical matters? But General Shoup, General Ridgway, General Clark, General Gavin, Rear Admiral True, General Hugh Hester, that's just to name a few, have said the same thing. That we were never in Vietnam, for instance, for the people. We were there to preserve the fact that we were working people for 16 cents a day and getting cheap tungsten. That's the only reason any of you Americans here have anything today. is that your yellow brothers and black brothers have been napalmed to death so that they can be robbed of it over there, and they give you just enough to keep above the wolves, And you think you've had it good, but if you're sick and have to go to the hospital, you're in trouble. I don't care if you're a middle-class person and own your business. If you have to go to an intensive ward of a hospital, that's why we're so thrilled that this atmosphere of the actual conscious presence of God, or socialism, has kept us free of death for 5 years. No one has died in our temple nuclear family in that length of time. But still, the reality's out there.